All right. Someone else is asking, what do you think about the reading of the Virgin Mary in Revelation 12? Let me pull my Bible out that I have here, because I know a lot of you are asking about, obviously, scriptural stuff, so let me make sure I actually have the scripture in front of me. Revelation 12, and that is a important text for the Marian dogmas. And Roman Catholics generally like to use Revelation chapter 12 to speak about Mary. And as you look at Revelation 12, you have the woman and the dragon is what the heading is here in the Bible I'm looking at. But it's you have a woman giving birth to a child, and I'll just read from Revelation chapter 12. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and her head a crown of 12 stars. She was with child and cried out in labor and in pain gave birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. There was a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 diadems on his heads. And, all right, let's skip down to verse 5. She gave birth to a male child who was to rule all nations in an iron scepter. Her child was caught up to God in the throne. Now, you can read through this chapter yourself to read the whole context of this, but since I'm doing a kind of broad Q&A program, I can't get too in-depth on the text. I could do an exegesis of this text more in-depth on another program if you were interested in that particular topic, that much for me to do that. But as we look at Revelation chapter 12, there are a couple of questions, and one is who is the woman? But then the other question is, do we have to say that there is only one referent for the woman? And it is hard, I think, to say the woman giving birth to Jesus is not Mary, because who gives birth to Jesus but Mary? So I think to say that this has no reference to Mary is just silly. It clearly does. There clearly is an implication of Mary here. But the woman is not only Mary, the woman is largely Israel, Mary being kind of a representation of Israel in this particular instance, because we have symbolism of 12, obviously referencing the 12 tribes of Israel. And so it's speaking about how the nation of Israel is the one who is going to give birth to the Messiah. And Mary is the one that kind of embodies the people of Israel, particularly embodies, the faithful of Israel, those who trusted in the promise. And there certainly is a connection between Mary and the promise that God gave to Eve that it's going to be a seed of a woman. So it's not wrong to read Mary into this text. Now, if you're going to try to draw all sorts of theological implications from this, about Mary being a queen of heaven and about Mary being assumed into heaven, and there are all these implications that people take from this. I would say it's the same problem you get doing that you have with taking premillennialism from Revelation chapter 20, and that is that it's a very symbolic book, and Revelation was a book that was contested in the early church. Some people thought maybe we shouldn't, it's not inspired. The Eastern churches still don't read Revelation in a lot of their church services because of the confusion that people have because of it. And we have to acknowledge that, Revelation is a very symbolical apocalyptic book. So it's not something that we can just take Revelation and say, this is literally this at face value. And even if you do that with Mary, it doesn't really fit with the Roman Catholic dogmas about Mary either, because the woman has, birth pains. And generally, it's the idea in Roman Catholic theology that Mary has no actual birth pain when she gives birth to Jesus. So, you got to take these things for what they are. Is there a reference to Mary there? Sure, she's a referent. Is she the only referent? I would say no. Can we get Marian dogmas out of that text? I would say no. So if that helps to answer kind of how I'm approaching this question.